Yes, so consider the following set of the process with the length of the CPU burst given in the millisecond. Okay, so burst time is given. So there are 5 processes in the system: P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, and the burst time is given. Okay, the arrival time for these processes is considered at 0, right? So the processes are assumed to have arrived in the order P1, P2, P3, P4, P5, all at time 0. Right? So draw 4 Gantt charts that illustrate the execution of these processes using the following scheduling algorithms: FCFS algorithm, SJF algorithm, and round robin with quantum 2. Okay. Now, what is the turnaround time for each process for each of the scheduling algorithm in part A? Right? Now, what is the waiting time for each process? Which algorithm result is the minimum average waiting time over all the processes? Okay. So this question I will solve here. So first of all, I will take FCFS algorithm. So in FCFS algorithm, yes, FCFS algorithm. So draw the Gantt chart. Okay. Now process P1 will start at 0. Okay. So the arrival time for all the process here is 0. So P1 will start to execute at 0, 0 to 2. Okay. So 0 to 2. Then P2 from 2 to 3. Then P3 from 3 to 11. Okay. Then P4 from 11 to 15. Then P5 from 15 to 20. This is FCFS algorithm. Okay. Now you will draw the Gantt chart using the SJF algorithm, right? Yes. The FCFS algorithm will execute the process according to their arrival. So the process arrival is P1, P2, P3, P4, P5. So the execution will be on the same sequence, right? Okay. Now SJF algorithm shortest job first algorithm. So the job that has the shortest burst time will execute first. Okay. So which process will execute first? P2. So P2 will execute first. Okay. So P2 will execute from 0 to 1. Okay. Then which process will execute? P1. Okay. So P1 will execute from 1 to 3 because the P1 has 2 execution time. Okay. Then P4. Okay. So P4 will execute from 3 to 7. Okay. After that P3 or P5? P5. Okay. So P5 will execute from 7 to 12. Okay. Then P3. Okay. So P3 will execute from 12 to 20. So this is the execution in SJF. Okay. Now round robin algorithm. So I will show you the execution in round robin algorithm. So in round robin the quantum is given. Quantum is 2. Okay. So in round robin P1 will execute first. Okay. So P1 will execute from 0 to 2. Then P2 will execute from 2 to 3. Okay. Then P3 will execute from 3 to 5. Then P4 will execute 5 to 7. Then P5 will execute 7 to 9. Okay. After that P1 will execute again, but P1 already finished. Okay, P2 is already finished. P3. Now P3 will execute from 9 to 11. Then P4 will execute from 11 to 13, right? Then P5 will execute from 13 to 15. Okay. Now P3 is still has 4 remaining. Okay, P3 executed only 2 times, yani 2 and 2, 4. Okay, 4 is remaining. So P3 will execute again up to 17. Then P4 is already finished. Okay, then P5 has just 1, so P5 will execute again. P5 will be 18. Then P3 execute again up to 20, right? So this is the execution sequence in round robin algorithm. Okay. Now question number 1, draw 4 Gantt charts that illustrate the execution of these processes using these algorithms. Okay. Second question, what is the turnaround time for each process for each of the scheduling algorithm in part A? Okay. Now you will find the turnaround time. Okay. So we will take one by one. Okay. The turnaround time for FCFS algorithm. So in FCFS algorithm, turnaround time. Turnaround time. Do you know turnaround time? Turnaround time is the time taken by the process from entry to exit. Okay, from entry to exit. All the time is called turnaround time. Okay, so turnaround time for P1 is, okay, so P1 enter into the system at 0 and exit from the system at 2. So the total time taken by P1 is 2. What about P2? 3, because 3 minus 0, because arrival time is 0 for all the process, right? So P2 is 3, P3 is 11, P4 is 15, and P5 is 20. Okay, so these are the total turnaround time. Okay, what is the waiting time? So we can calculate the waiting time as well. So waiting time for P1 waiting time for P1 is 0. Waiting time for P2 is 2. Waiting time of P3 is 3. Waiting time of P4 is 11. Waiting time of P5 is 15. Right? So minimum average time, we will find this one again at the end. Okay. What is response time? I can take another topic that is called response time. So what is the response time? So the response time is the time taken by a process from entry to execution, first execution. Okay. So the P1 is 0, P2 is 2, P3 is, yes, waiting time, yeah, 3, and P4 is 11 and P5 is 15. Okay, so this is the response time. Now SJF algorithm. In SJF algorithm, okay, turnaround time. First, turnaround time. Okay, turnaround time for P1 is, P1 enter into the system at 0 and finish their execution at 3. So P1 take 3 time. P2 enter into the system at 0 and finish at 1, so 1. P3 enter 0 and finish at 20, so it takes 20. P4 enter into the system at 0 and exit 7, so 7. P5 12. Okay, this is the total turnaround time. Now waiting time for P1 waiting time is 1, P2 waiting time is 0, P3 waiting time is 12, P4 waiting time is 3, and P5 waiting time is 7, right? So this is the waiting time, and response time for P1 is, response time of P1 is 1, okay, response time of P2 is 0, response time of P3 is 12, okay, and response time of P4 is 3 and P5 is 7. This is same as waiting time, okay. Now round robin algorithm. In round robin algorithm you will find the turnaround time, okay, for P1, okay. P1 enter into the system at 0 and finish at 2. So the total turnaround time for P1 is 2, and P2 finish their execution at 3, right? P3 20, right? P4 finish at 13, and P5 is 18, okay. So this is the total turnaround time, okay, right? Okay, now waiting time for P1 is, waiting time, see, P1 waiting time is 0, okay, P2 waiting time is 2, okay, P3 waiting time is 3, but it is not finished yet, okay. So P3 waiting time from 5 to 9, also 4, and 11 to 15, also 4, and 17 to 18, also 1, okay. So 12 is the waiting time for P3, because P3 doesn't finish yet, okay. So all the waiting time you have to calculate, right? Okay. P4, so what is the waiting time for P4? P4 is 5, but it doesn't finish yet, okay. From 7 to 11, also wait. So 7 to 11 is 4, okay. So total waiting time for P4 is 9, okay. Now P5, so what is the waiting time of P5? P5 waiting time in starting 7 and plus 9, 13 minus 9, 4, and plus P5. This one also P5. So 17, 15 to 17, 2. Okay. So the total waiting time of P5 is 13, right? Okay. Now response time of P1 is 0. The response time of P2 is 2. Okay. Then P3 is 3, right? So P3 response time is 3. P4 response time is 5, okay, and 7. 5, and P5 response time is 7. Okay. So now the last question is, which of the algorithm result is the minimum average waiting time? So which algorithm is the best algorithm? So you will find the average waiting time now, okay. So what is the average waiting time of first come first served algorithm? So you will add all the waiting time together and divide it by number of the process. So there are 5 process. So 2, 3, 5, 5 and 11, 16, 16 and 15, 31. So 31 divided by 5, 5 6 ja 36.2, okay. So this is the average waiting time in FCFS algorithm. Now average waiting time in SJF algorithm is how much? 1, 0, 12, 13, 13, 3, 16 and 7, 16, 7, 23, 23 by 5, 5 4 ja 24.6, okay. the average waiting time in round robin algorithm, average waiting time is equal to 2 and 12, 14, 14 and 9, 22, 23, 23 and 13, 36, right? 36 divided by 5, 5 7 35, 7.2. Okay, so what is the which algorithm has the minimum waiting time? It's SJF algorithm. Okay, so SJF algorithm waiting time is 4.6. So SJF algorithm is the best algorithm among these three algorithms. Okay, right? Okay, so this is the answer of this question.